like Donkey Kong. And now quick. Everyone look at me on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Is he getting everybody in that picture?
Heck yeah.
Wow.
Okay. On, and good morning, Robert.
Right.
My name is Brent Ogden. Today's date is February 7th at about 9:15? February 8th, 9:15 a.m., 2026. I am interviewing, can you please state your name, sir?
Robert Bertling.
In San Juan Hills, South Orange County. Subject, World War II. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning.
Could you please state your name one more time, your date of birth, your name, your branch of service, and your retiring rank?
Robert Bertling, and my date of service was probably started in September of 1943. I joined the Navy, and then we went out into battle. My first battle was the bombing Tokyo in Christmas Day, 1944. And that's all I can remember right now about that.
What was your retiring rank from the
Oh, my retiring, I was just a seaman, first class.
Perfect. So my first question to you, Robert, is if you can tell me a little about when and where you were born and what life was like growing up in the 1930s.
Well, yeah, I do have a good memory, I think, better than average, because I can remember when I was 4 or 5 years old in Toledo, Ohio. And we would walk to school. It was about a mile on a path. And I was born in Toledo, and we moved to California when I was in the 4th grade.
How come?
Well, I had 2 sisters, and one of them had tuberculosis. And the doctor told my father if she wanted to live a little longer, she probably would if he took her to California, because of the dry climate was good for tuberculosis. So our whole family came to California in 1934 in a 34 Plymouth. And some of us, my dad and my sister, came on a train with our dog. I think he even brought our big dog. So that's how we got here. Some of us drove and some of us came on a train.
And whereabouts in California did you guys move?
To a town called Tahunga. And we had, everybody in the car had trouble pronouncing it. Tahunga is spelled crazy. T-U-J something. And we were advised to go there because of the dryness of the climate. It was good for people that had tuberculosis.
Give me 1 sec, Robert, because it looks like this camera decided to self-suicide.
He went to sleep.
And I don't know why. Let's try turning it back on.
He keeps moving his foot on the bottom.
Oh.
Let me tell him.
Yeah, 'cause it still has full battery.
Try not to move this foot because you're making the noise. And we can't make any extra noise. Yeah. Okay. And then you guys try not to do your paperwork when he's doing it because you'll hear it pick up.
You actually be really surprised how sensitive these mics are.
It'll pick up, yeah, so no moving the feet.
All right, we're still going. So, Robert, what did your dad do for work, or your mom?
Well, before we came to California, in Toledo, he was a barber in a barber shop. And I think he even owned his own barber shop when he was about 19. And then he quit that, and he went to work at the post office in Toledo, Ohio. And there he was probably, about 20, 21 years old. But there were so many of us. The family came in a 1934 Plymouth, and the two girls, the one girl, Jeanette, she came in on a train with my dad. And I guess they even brought our big dog. I just vaguely remember that, but I do.
And when you guys moved to California, did he continue being a barber or working in the post office?
He didn't work in the barber shop anymore. He went to work in the post office. Yeah. And first we came to Tahunga, which was supposed to be extra good climate for people with tuberculosis.
Now, growing up in Tahunga, what did you guys do for fun, or how did you pass the time?
For fun? Well, we were right at the base of the mountain. We could hike every day. It was a very small town. There wasn't a whole lot to do. I can't remember the details of what we did.
Now, what county is Tahunga in?
What county? LA County, Los Angeles County.
How far were you guys from Los Angeles at that time?
Oh, that was probably about 25 miles.
Did you guys ever go to Los Angeles for anything, or down to Orange County by chance?
Yeah, we did.
How come, or why so?
Well, we would just like to see the things around us, curiosity mostly, and anytime anyone would come to visit us, then we'd think of places to go, to take them.
And what were some of those places, like the beach or Knott's Berry Farm at the time?
Oh yeah, we went to all those. Knott's Berry Farm more than once, maybe 3 or 4 times. We go to the beach. When we go to the beach, we'd be on a big streetcar.
What was that called, if you can recall?
Pardon?
Can you recall what that was called?
I can't remember the name of it.
Does the Pacific Electric green car or red car ring a bell?
Red car, I think. Red car, yeah.
So you guys would take the red car to LA and go to the beach. Did you guys go to like Santa Monica, Long Beach, or did you guys end up in Newport Balboa?
No, we didn't go to, Newport was too far south. We stayed up near Manhattan Beach, Long Beach. We didn't come any further south.
Now in Long Beach, at that time in the 1930s, the Great Pacific Fleet was in Long Beach. Did you ever go on any of the battleships when there, or can you recall doing anything like that?
I can vaguely remember going on a naval ship. I believe it was a submarine, and you could go down the ladder into the ship itself, which was kind of interesting.
Was that during like Fleet Week, or were you with a Boy Scout troop?
Well, kind of after I was a Boy Scout. Between that and getting ready to go in the Navy, in the Armed Forces.
So it sounds like you were kind of an older teenager at that point.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, in the late 1930s, you have Nazi Germany invading Poland, and kind of war talk was starting to rise. Was even World War II, or even the concept of a war breaking out, ever kind of going through your mind?
Well, yes. I was thinking about it a lot, and we would listen to the news at night on the radio, and it kept getting closer all the time. Like my older brothers were getting to join the Marines and so forth.
Was that before Pearl Harbor they were talking about that already by chance?
Yes. Yes.
Now, speaking of, can you recall the day when Pearl Harbor was attacked and what you were doing and how you found out?
I do. I was riding my bicycle up to my good friend's house in Altadena, and it was Sunday morning, on a Sunday morning, and he was washing his dad's new car. It was a 41 Chevrolet. And we talked about the war. We said, did you hear Pearl Harbor was attacked, and so forth. I distinctly remember that, yes.
How did you react at that time?
Well, I was too young for me to take effect, really. I didn't realize that eventually I would be in that war. I thought I was too young. I can't remember anything else at that time.
Well, after you heard about Pearl Harbor being attacked, did you go back home and discuss it with your brothers by chance?
Oh yes. Yeah, we all still lived at home. Even I had a younger brother too, and he was too young to go into the service.
But your two brothers at that point had already kind of looked into joining the Marine Corps.
Yes.
And had they actually already signed their papers prior to Pearl Harbor, or did Pearl Harbor influence their decision?
I believe they made the decision after Pearl Harbor was bombed. That's when they signed up and made their actual decision.
And when they left, how did that make you feel?
Well, I didn't think too much about it because I thought I was too young to go. I was a few years younger.
Now, real quickly, can you state your date of birth?
10/12/26.
So this year, you're going to be turning 100 years old.
That's correct.
And I'm asking you to remember things almost 81 years ago. So I appreciate you working with me, Robert. So after you found out about Pearl Harbor, I actually want to go back a little bit because you mentioned listening to the radio.
Yeah.
Did you ever listen to any shows like Little Orphan Annie, Buck Rogers, or FDR Fireside Chats by chance?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we didn't have any TV then. It was before TV. Yeah, so we would watch the show in the evening. The whole family would gather around the radio and listen to the radio.
Did you guys have to argue over which station to listen to?
Sometimes, yes.
Now, what was your favorite radio show to listen to?
I believe it was Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy, I think it was.
And why did you like listening to him?
Well, it felt it's mostly just something to do at home. You didn't have to go out any place. You could do it right in your house.
How did the Great Depression affect you and your family during your upbringing?
I often wonder about that, because we had a big family, 6 children, and I often wondered how my father could afford to raise all those kids and feed them and clothe them and everything. It was I still don't know how he managed to do it, but he did. He was.
Did your mom make anything special that you can recall? For like lunch or dinner or?
Well, she made all of our meals we would eat at the table. And yeah, she had something called tamale pie. It was kind of like a big tamale. She'd have that once in a while.
Was that like a family delicacy?
Yeah, we might call it that, yeah.
Have you ever tried that?
Pardon?
Never heard of it.
Oh, family secret discovered.
Yeah.
So you had a total of 4 brothers, if I understand correctly?
I had 4 brothers and 2 sisters.
Oh, 3, because it's a total of 6, right?
Yes,
So there's four boys, 2 girls.
yes,
So your mom was outnumbered.
yes.
Oh. Now I can definitely understand why tamale pie would have been a family staple, because it could feed all of you
Yeah.
guys. Now, after Pearl Harbor was attacked, where did you go to high school?
Well, I was going to Altadena High School. Actually, it was a junior high school. The 10th and 11th grades.
Now, knowing that, you were kind of in the vicinity of something famous happening in Southern California. My grandfather was living in Pasadena at the time and could also remember hearing the echoes of what was called the Great Los Angeles Air Raid. Do you recall or can you remember when that transpired?
Los Angeles Air Raid?
Yes, in February of '42, where they thought there was a fake plane and they fired like 400 shots into the air, and then the Japanese submarine shot Elwood.
I don't really recall it, no.
Now, there was also another famous incident that took place in Southern California, also known as the Zoot Suit Riots, or also the Sleepy Lagoon Murders. Does that ring a bell?
Just vaguely. Vaguely I remember hearing about it, yeah.
Sounds like your town was a little too far removed to have been affected by those social issues.
I think so.
So by 1943, you're about to turn 17, 18, and why did you choose to join the Navy?
Well, I already had a brother in the Marines, and I knew my older brother was going to join the Army, so I decided to pick the Navy. So my mother would be represented by all 3 services.
And can you recall the day that you went down to the Navy recruiter's office, or not the day, but going down to the Navy recruiter's office and explain that process?
Yeah, in Los Angeles. I lived in Pasadena, and I went over to Los Angeles to recruit to join. And yeah, I can recall telling us about it.
How did that happen? Did he just sit you guys down and just say you're in the Navy, or?
Yeah, I think so. There was a line of people. We'd get in line, they'd take one at a time and question them.
And that's where they performed your physicals, like eye exams and stuff like that?
Right, you're correct.
Did you have any issues yourself?
Did I have any what?
Issues going through that process yourself, like with eyesight or anything?
No. No, it didn't bother me.
What about the shots?
The shots? Well, I was a little leery of those, but we got used to them pretty fast.
Now, after enlisting in Los Angeles, where did you go to next? Did you go down to San Diego, Illinois, or back east for basic?
When we would go from Pasadena to LA, we'd usually go in a streetcar. And that's about as far as we went. We didn't go all the way to San Diego, only once or twice a month.
Now for boot camp, I'm kind of curious, did you go to San Diego for boot camp, or the Great Lakes up near Illinois, or?
San Diego.
You were in San Diego?
Yes.
Now, were you at Balboa Park by chance?
Yes. I had been there, yes.
Can you describe arriving in San Diego for basic training, and like, was it at night, was it in the morning, or?
Well, we came on a bus, Greyhound bus, and San Clemente was one stop halfway there. And we'd always stop at the bus station, get something to eat, and then come on to San Diego, and they give us our uniform and all of our clothes, and assign us into different barracks, and that's how we got in, yes.
And after getting your assignment, you're in your training platoon, how long did that last? And did you ever get in trouble, or did you see anyone else get in trouble?
Well, we called it boot camp, or basic training, and it lasted about 6 weeks. So, and each company would take turns doing their own job. So we didn't have any trouble that I remember. Hardly any trouble at all.
Now, after basic training, where did you go to A school or your next advanced school?
Basic training in San Diego. Came home for a 5-day leave, and then was sent to Bremerton, Washington, where I was assigned to go aboard an aircraft carrier. That would have been in the fall of 1943. Yeah.
And what was your job that you were training for at that time?
Well, they assigned me to an aircraft carrier, the USS Bunker Hill, and the training for helping to land the airplanes. When they would extend their hook out the back of the plane, it would grab a cable that would pull it to a stop. So that's if it would miss that hook, then they would bounce, and they would run into a barrier. What we called a barrier was cables that were about 6 or 8 feet high on the deck, and that would stop the plane. It was like a great, big, gigantic rubber band or something. It it would hit that and stop it.
Now, can you describe the process of laying out that line and how you would recover it after a plane would land?
Yes, it was hydraulic. So the plane would pull it out, and the hydraulic pressure would hold it back. It would stop, and somebody would run out and unhook it, retrieve the cable, and do another plane.
And was that your only job while on Bunker Hill?
Yeah, that and maintain the cable itself.
Now, did you have a combat station as well?
Yes.
What was your combat station?
It was right there under the flight deck, right near where the cables were. And we would make sure the cables were free and lubricated and so forth. We would do that every day.
Now, can you describe arriving on Bunker Hill and where was your rack, so to speak?
Okay, let's see. I arrived on it in, I think, early December. And they issue you clothing, and then they take you to put you in a company of men, maybe 100 men in a company, and they would assign us, our quarters were way up forward, on the bow, right under the flight deck.
And how noisy were flight operations when you were racked out?
They were noisy. You could hear that. You had to get used to it.
Now, it sounds like you were also in a hot rack?
On a what?
On a hot rack? Were you sharing it with someone else, or was it just your standalone?
I think we were just alone. I don't remember sharing it.
Now, can you describe kind of maybe a daily day of going to the galley, waking up, what you would do on your rest time, or?
Well, morning we get up pretty early, try to eat breakfast, something, and then go to our position where we were assigned to during the daytime, right near the gun mounts and things where our battle stations were. And then when we were through, we'd go back to our quarters. It was quite a distance from one end of the ship to the other.
How big of a distance?
How what, sir?
How big of a distance?
Well, I think it took about where we were stationed to land the plane, the barrier, with the barrier. It seems like as soon as it would land safely, then we would unhook it and lower the barrier, and then the barrier would
Retract?
yes, and then raise it back up after it was gone. The plane was gone.
Now, arriving on Bunker Hill for the first time in December of '44, when you guys left San Francisco, did you guys conduct a shakedown before moving to Pearl?
We did for sure.
Can you describe that?
I got aboard ship at Bremerton, Washington, just a couple of weeks before Christmas of '44. And we came out Puget Sound at flank speed. It's about 35, 38 miles an hour, as fast as the ship would go. And we came out and down to San Francisco in about 12 or 14 hours to pick up our airplanes at Alameda. And it was kind of exciting because you weren't just plugging along in the water. You were sailing about 30-some miles an hour.
And what happened during the shakedown off the coast? Can you describe what a shakedown is and what you had to do?
Well, they just was pretty normal. In the daytime, we would just do our regular duties, and we'd stop for lunch, shake down, and the ship was being tested to see how fast it would go and so forth. So it was kind of exciting. It got from Bremerton to down to San Francisco pretty quick. I think it was just about a day and a half.
And then after receiving those aircraft on the Bunker Hill, when you guys started to proceed off the coast of California towards the Pacific, you're now technically in enemy waters. How did that make you feel?
Well, we knew the enemy had ships close to the shore, little submarines. I think they were two-man subs, and the private people that lived, the citizens, they had to be careful when they turned on their headlights or their auto lights at night. They wanted to drive with dimmers on. So I remember we were concerned about that.
Why was that a concern to you?
Well, if you turn on any kind of a light, you could be shot at, I guess, and we knew that. That would expose us, then it could be seen.
It would silhouette you.
Yeah.
Now, leaving California to Pearl Harbor, one of the first missions for the Bunker Hill after you came on board would be for operations off the coast of Iwo Jima. Can you recall that by chance?
I remember Iwo Jima was our very last battle. So after that battle was over, we started back to USA, but we were called back to Iwo Jima, so we were going to go back and forth a couple of times. And we knew it was the last battle, so we put everything in it and won the battle.
Could you see the island on the flight deck when the Bunker Hill was operating?
Yeah, sometimes we could get close enough where we could see the island of Japan and the mountains of Fujiyama. Yeah, we could see that in Tokyo. Not every day, but maybe a couple of days a week we'd be close enough to see it.
Now, when sitting off the coast of Iwo Jima, after the island was secured, can you recall when the Bunker Hill went into a place called near Okinawa?
Yes. I remember the Marines were having trouble at Okinawa securing it. So we went back, we were called back to get back in the battle and help them. I think more than once. I think even twice. We left and then we had to go back because we knew it was the last battle.
And as you guys were going back and forth, were you guys ever attacked by any Japanese aircraft, bombers?
Yes.
Can you describe that for me?
Aircraft, Japanese aircraft. Yeah, when we would go to general quarters, we'd turn off all the lights and sound the alarm and try to be very, very quiet. It didn't happen very often.
Now, the Bunker Hill on May 11th, 1945, was sitting off the coast of Okinawa when a Japanese Zero appeared out of the sky. Can you recall seeing that Japanese Zero?
Yes, there were two of them.
Can you explain what happened when you saw that?
Well, the Japanese Zeros were straight up above us, and they dove at us with their machine guns going as they were diving. And we shot down one, and the second one was coming at us right at the island with the midsection of the plane, in the middle of the plane. And we shot it down, and it actually hit the plane and exploded.
Where were you when it exploded?
I had been to sick bay to have a boil treated on my thigh. And I was on my way back to my quarters, up forward, way up forward.
So when you were sitting in the hallway and the second plane hit, can you describe what happened? Did the whole ship shake? Or?
Yeah, you could feel the whole ship shake because it was quite an impact.
And what did you witness when that impacted? Would the lights just go out, or did you see flames, or?
No, a lot of noise, explosions, because the hatches themselves weren't open, they weren't completely open. We had been, we hadn't been fully prepared for a major we weren't fully prepared for it. We weren't at general quarters.
And if I recall, the flight deck was pretty much loaded with aircraft that were refueled and rearmed.
Yes, it was. And on the port side, we had lined up, let's see, way up forward on the port side, we lined up the bodies that we pulled out of the flames where the ship was still burning and covered them up with the canvas because they were dead. And we had a couple hundred there, over 200. In about 5 hours we burned.
In that time period, as the ship was burning, were you acting in the capacity as a firefighter, or were you helping recover casualties?
A little bit of both, mostly a firefighter, manning a fire hose. Because it took us about 5 hours to get the whole fire out.
Can you describe that? Were you fighting the fire in the interior of the vessel or above on the flight deck?
Well, both, mostly. We were on the flight deck and sometimes down on the hangar deck. And the planes, the heat from one of them would start another fire. So it took us 4 or 5 hours to get that out, completely out.
Now you yourself, helping fight these fires, in the capacity of helping recover casualties, did you ever go into the flight ready room where the pilots of VF-84 were located by chance?
Yes. Sometimes to gather the people that were partially injured or something, and take them out and put them in another place.
Did you personally carry them or carry a stretcher or a litter?
Well, a litter, two people. Usually 2 of us would carry them.
And how hard was it transporting casualties in those gangways when all this chaos was happening? Did you guys go above deck to bring them forward, or?
It was pretty difficult because there didn't seem to be enough room to get the stretcher through the hatch. And then we'd try to get them up to the flight deck and line them up on the flight deck.
How bad was the list of the vessel at that time?
The what?
The list of the carrier, how bad was it at that time?
Well, it wasn't too bad. It was going up and down, but not extreme, no.
So after helping evacuate these casualties, after helping subdue the fires, were you guys still concerned about getting hit by further kamikazes?
Yes, we were. We knew they were right around us, more of them. So we stayed on our guns. Our gunners stayed on their guns, and they shot 2 more down. The last 2 they shot down. So I think in all, we probably shot down 2 or 3 out of 4. There were 4 total.
Did you have any friends that you knew that were casualties or were killed as a result of the kamikaze attack?
Oh, yes. Yes, I had some friends that worked below decks. I worked on flight deck.
How did you find out that they were killed?
Well, as we would drag their bodies forward on the ship, line them up on the flight deck, cover them up with a piece of canvas, a hammock, I believe we used. And then there was total about 270, I think, all total. So then the next day or 2 is when we buried them. We put one of our 5-inch shells around the body inside of it and wrapped them in canvas and tied it shut and put them overboard.
Buried them at sea. Buried them at sea.
Yes.
Do you recall any of the names of those friends?
Oh, Not really. I can't recall their actual name, because there were a lot of men aboard ship. And we had a total of about I think almost 3,000 men.
It's like a small city.
Yeah.
It's like asking now, hey, do you know the mayor of San Juan?
Yeah.
Can't know everybody.
Uh-huh.
But what you endured and survived was the second largest kamikaze attack in the Second World War. I heard that the fires were so bad that men were even trying to jump into toilets to avoid the flames.
That's right. There were. If they were below deck, below the hangar deck, the flaming oil and stuff would roll through the hatches. The hatches were open. So they would actually jump in any place they could go and get water, some kind of relief.
How did you get relief from all of the smoke that was being generated? Did you put like a cloth over your face and wet it down, or did you wear a gas mask or a respirator?
I had a mask, a gas mask, that I would wear when I was inside of the smoky rooms.
They were supposedly still finding bodies days even after the attack, because the damage was so extensive.
Even the next day, for the men to get away from where all that heat was and the burning flames, they would crawl up in a little space. Took a hard time to find them. We'd find them the next day, maybe. A couple of them we'd find the next day.
Now, after the Bunker Hill was attacked, did you transfer to another vessel, or you yourself were injured?
No, I wasn't injured. I was transferred. I was sent home on a survivor's leave and then transferred. Transferred after my leave to another ship. An APA, attack transport, they called it.
And was that the vessel that you were on until the war ended?
Yes. The vessel I was on, it went back out after the war ended and brought troops home. And I got off of it then, before that.
So you had enough points.
Yeah.
You lucky duck.
So I was aboard another ship then, a whole nother time.
Well, with that being said, can you recall the day that you heard about the atomic bombs being dropped on Japan, and what was your reaction?
Oh, yeah, we were right there. Yeah, we were.
You were off the coast of Japan?
Yeah.
I've heard from other veterans who were in the same vicinity that you could actually feel the shock wave on those.
I think I would say so, yes. You could kind of feel it. It was a bit like a gigantic bomb.
And on board, what was the mood like when you guys found out?
Well, we were actually kind of happy it was over. We knew they couldn't survive that. So we had to drop, I believe we dropped 2 bombs, Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
And were guys shouting at that time that Golden Gate by 48 doesn't matter anymore, Home Alive by 45 is now true?
I can't remember hearing that. I can't remember hearing that.
I've talked to a few other veterans that they all had different little sayings on what motivated them in their service. But you were on board an APA hearing about the atomic bombs. Can you recall hearing that Japan had unconditionally surrendered, and what was the reaction of your crew, of you and your crew?
Yeah, we had heard they surrendered. I remember that. We were all very happy and joyful. Because we figured, well, at least the bombing, shooting and everything is over. It wasn't quite, but almost.
Because acting in that picket capacity off the coast of Japan, you guys were starting to prepare for Operation Downfall, mainland invasion of Japan. And they were expecting almost 1 million casualties in that first month. So knowing that you were training for that for a few months after even this, enduring the kamikaze attack, and knowing now that the war was over, can you just describe that feeling of relief?
Well, it was a tremendous relief. You just felt like it drained you. Because day to day, when we were actually in the battle, you never knew when a kamikaze would come through. So you couldn't really relax. Felt like you had to be on guard.
And now that the war was over,
Yep.
you don't have to feel on guard anymore.
Yep, it was hard to believe that it was over. It was really kind of hard to believe it.
What was the thing that made you finally feel like it is over, like this is reality? Was it bringing those troops home?
Yes. Bringing the bodies and burying them at sea. And then our guns were quiet. The biggest gun we had aboard was a 5-inch in diameter and about this long.
Now, coming back to the States in late 45, VJ Day, were you stateside by that point, September 2nd, 1945?
By VJ Day, I was back at the States, and I was actually home on leave, yeah. When they declared VJ Day, I was home on leave.
And when you heard that, were you with family, or were you just getting into town, or?
Well, no, I was happy it was over. You know, things could get back to normal.
What were you doing when you found out? Were you just sitting at home, or?
Let me think a minute. Yeah, I was home on a survivor's leave, a short leave, maybe 5 or 8 days, and we had gone up to the mountains, to Big Bear, way up in the hills, above Pasadena.
And were you guys up in Big Bear and you listened to the radio, or?
Yes. I was, there were, my future wife and my mother-in-law to be were up there in the mountains at Big Bear, waiting for the war to be over, declared completely over.
Now, when did you get out of the Navy?
I was discharged June 1st, 1946. So I got out of the Navy in 46.
So you served between 1943 and 1946.
Right.
When you were discharged from the Navy, what did you end up doing?
Well, I believe I went back to work to the post office, where I had worked before I went in the Navy as a special delivery messenger, kind of like delivering telegrams. I did that.
Like Western Unions and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Did you ever use the GI Bill and go into college?
No, I could have. I was eligible for it, but I didn't do it.
And did you end up in a career with the post office?
Oh, yes. I spent a total of about 35 years.
So on top of your 3 years in the federal service, you also served in the post office, so to speak, for the next 35 years, almost 40 years of service.
Right.
Wow. Had to get him a plaque.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
Now, with that being said, what time is it by chance? I usually have my watch on me, but I turned everything off
10,
too.
12.
10, 12? Perfect. We've already been talking for almost probably about an hour and a half, by the way, Robert.
Wow.
So with that being said, I'm going to start wrapping up, and I'm going to have a few conclusive questions for you. So my first question to you, is that light too bright still? Did I hit that?
That window, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So one of my last three questions to you is, after having served in the United States military, how did serving in the military affect you and your family? Was it positive or negative?
I would say positive. I was kind of glad I was in some of it. Old enough, because my brothers were in it. I had 2 brothers in it. And I was glad. I enjoyed it.
How did serving in the military make you who you are today? How did serving in the military make you who you are today?
Well, it taught me discipline, I know. Following orders, when you're asked to do something, do it. It taught me to obey orders. Because I stayed with the military. Not really, well, postal union.
Same kind of structure.
Yeah, I was glad I served.
Now with that note, one of my final questions to you is, what does being an American mean to you?
Well, that means total freedom. If you're an American citizen, if you're an American citizen, you have total freedom. And to me, that's very, very important.
Why?
You feel like you've been returned. You feel like people are aware that you did your duty. You feel appreciated.
And if you could leave a message for future generations about service or love of country, what would you say to them?
Well, I would just, if you're working with an organization or something, just do the best you can, because somebody's going to appreciate that, and they're going to get help from you. And anytime you can help them, it's a better off country. I guess that's it, yeah.
With that being said, Robert, I appreciate you and your time today. That concludes our